Every day across the United States, more than 500,000 911 calls are made. To most, that number is just a statistic. But for the men and women who answer those calls, it's a flood of human crisis, fear, and desperation pouring through a headset. Most people imagine flashing lights, sirens, or paramedics racing through traffic. Rarely do they imagine the person who calmly says, "911, what is your emergency?" even when their own world is falling apart. Behind every call is a person trained to suppress panic, to think logically under pressure, and to offer help with nothing but their voice and a computer screen. But what happens when the voice on the other end of the line says something that breaks through that professional barrier? What happens when it's not just a call, but a wound that never quite closes? Emergency dispatchers often work long hours in small, dimly lit rooms. Their eyes rarely leave their monitors. They rarely see the outcome. They just hear it, the screaming, the begging, the silence. They're anonymous to the people they help, but carry the memory of those people with them, sometimes for life. Studies show dispatchers suffer rates of PTSD, anxiety, and depression comparable to frontline police officers and paramedics. Yet their stories are seldom told. This collection dives into the deeply personal, chilling final calls that drove experienced 911 dispatchers to quit. These stories are dramatized but inspired by real accounts, interviews, and psychological profiles. They are not for the faint of heart. They are not the result of laziness, cowardice, or weakness. They are the consequences of carrying too many ghosts. What you're about to read is a tribute to the people who pick up the phone when the unthinkable happens. It's about the ones who stayed too long, and the ones who had to walk away to save themselves. These are the calls that ended careers. These are the voices that were never forgotten. For most people, the voice on the other end of a 911 call is just a lifeline, a calm, professional voice ready to dispatch help. But for the operators who answer those calls, it's more than just a voice. It's trauma. It's the sound of someone's worst moment becoming your responsibility. Across America, thousands of 911 dispatchers answer phones every day. Some deal with car crashes. Others hear domestic disputes spiral into violence. But then there are calls that are different. Calls that stick, that haunt, that make an operator put down the headset and never pick it up again. This is not a story about policy failures or crime statistics. This is about the emotional toll of hearing horror unfold in real time with nothing but your voice to fight it. It's about the people who listened and then broke. In this collection of true-to-life stories inspired by real events, we follow the final calls that made 4 seasoned 911 operators walk away from the job forever. Each story is its own descent into a unique nightmare, some rooted in tragedy, some in the unexplained, all unforgettable. These are the calls they'll never forget, and neither will you. Story 1: Voices in the Basement. Austin, Texas, August 2019. Emily Torres had been on the job for 6 years. She thought she'd heard everything: car wrecks, heart attacks, armed break-ins. She'd even talked a man down from jumping off the Congress Avenue Bridge. But on a quiet Monday evening, a call came through that would never leave her. "911, what is your emergency?" she answered, voice steady. There was a pause. Then a child's voice, soft, barely above a whisper. "I think I'm locked in a basement." Emily straightened in her chair, eyes flicking to the call screen. No location. The signal was coming from a VoIP connection, maybe an old internet phone. Untraceable. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Tyler." "How old are you, Tyler?" 7. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard, trying to initiate a ping trace. "Nothing." "Can you tell me where you are? Do you see anything around you?" "A red door. And some boxes. It smells bad. Like dead animals." Emily swallowed. "Okay, Tyler. You're doing great. I need you to stay calm. Is there anyone else there with you? A long pause. Then, in a voice that chilled her to the bone, they're upstairs. They don't know I found the phone. Emily's hand hovered over the priority flag. This was no prank. She could hear the fear in his voice. Something real. Something wrong. Tyler, can you hide the phone if someone comes down? I think so. Suddenly, a creaking sound. Floorboards. Footsteps. They're coming, he whispered. Please don't hang up. Please. Emily's heart pounded. She mouthed to the supervisor to start a silent trace, even though she knew the VoIP line would give them nothing. Tyler, stay as quiet as you can. I'm right here. I won't leave you. There was a rustle, breathing, then silence. A low voice, not the child. You shouldn't be talking to people, Tyler. Click. The line went dead. Emily didn't sleep that night, or the next. She filed a report, and police combed the general area where the signal had possibly originated. Nothing. No missing child named Tyler. No signs of a basement. The call didn't exist in the playback system. It was as if it had never happened. Except Emily remembered every second, every syllable, every breath. She stayed at her desk for 3 more weeks, but something had changed. She would jolt every time the phone rang. Her voice lost its calm edge. One night she had a panic attack in the middle of a domestic call and had to be escorted out. She turned in her headset the next morning. No explanation needed. In her resignation form, under reason for leaving, she wrote, "The voice still whispers at night." Story 2, Not Alone in the House. Atlanta, Georgia, February 2021. Marcus Reed never believed in the supernatural. A veteran cop with nearly a decade on the force, he thought everything in the world could be explained by facts, logic, and procedure. He'd seen horrible things. Murdered teenagers, suicides, bloody domestic fights in Atlanta suburbs, grieving mothers sobbing in hospital corridors. He believed nothing could surprise him anymore. That's why he switched to dispatch. Less risk, a stable schedule, quiet nights over a headset. At least that's what he thought. The February night was calm. The clock read 3:12 a.m. Light rain tapped against downtown Atlanta streets. Soft, whisper-like. Marcus sipped cold coffee from a plastic mug and stared at the monitor until the dispatch system lit up with a new call. 911, what is your emergency? The response was barely audible, a whisper. A woman's voice, faint through static. There's someone in my room. Marcus immediately straightened in his chair. The voice didn't sound frightened, it sounded paralyzed. Cornered, as if the caller was physically unable to scream or even breathe properly. Ma'am, can you confirm your address? The address came through clearly without hesitation. A single-story house in East Point near the old school. He dispatched a unit immediately. Officers were 7 minutes away. Tell me what's happening, he continued. I woke up. I can feel someone standing next to me. But I can't move. Pause. Then. I think he has a knife. Marcus clenched his headset tighter. Can you see him? No, but I feel him. He's just there, breathing. He looked at the timer. Officers were en route. 5 minutes out. Is he speaking to you? No, just breathing. Then silence. For several seconds, nothing. And suddenly, a sharp inhale. Panic. He's gone. I heard him go down the stairs. And Marcus swore he heard it too. Barely perceptible footsteps. Quiet. Like someone walking barefoot across wooden floors. Ma'am, listen carefully. Lock your door. Stay where you are. Officers are almost there. No answer. Just faint static. Then, Story 3, the repeat call. Portland, Oregon, November 2020. For nearly 10 years, Chloe Sanders had worked the night shift at Portland's 911 emergency dispatch. She liked the structure, the stillness of the early morning hours, the hum of computer monitors and the click of keyboard keys in the dimly lit room. There was something oddly soothing about routine. Fire reports, domestic disturbances, noise complaints, and the occasional car crash. Predictable chaos. But the call that came in at 3:47 a.m. on November 18th shattered that illusion forever. 911, what's your emergency? A male voice. Urgent. Frantic. They're here again. Please, not again. Chloe froze. Her fingers hovered above the keyboard. The voice, it was unmistakable. She had heard it before. Not just a similar voice. The same voice. Same tone, same exact words. Her pulse quickened. Sir, can you confirm your location? The basement. Please hurry. Chills crept up her spine. She typed in the information. The location he gave, same as before. And just like the first time, it didn't exist. The address was invalid. No match in the system. Not even close. Sir, I need you to clarify. I don't see that address on the map. Are you sure you're... But the line cut out. Static. No click. Just sudden, suffocating silence. Chloe sat there, staring at the screen, her breathing shallow. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She knew this call. Not just from memory, but viscerally, deep in her body. Like a splinter that had been embedded years ago and suddenly surfaced again. She pushed back from her desk and opened the archive system. Her fingers moved automatically, searching the dispatch log from that night in 2018. November 18th. Exactly 2 years ago. Almost to the minute. There it was. Timestamp, 3:47 a.m. The same voice. The same words. The same static at the end. Back then, it had been dismissed as a prank call. Story 4, Death Live Streamed. Chicago, Illinois, June 2022. Derek Whitman had always been the calmest man in the room. He was the one they called in when rookies froze up or panicked. The one who taught new dispatchers how to stay calm while someone screamed in their ear, how to keep their voice steady when lives hung in the balance. In 10 years on the job, Derek had handled everything, from fiery crashes to hostage situations, with a level head and unwavering focus. But nothing had prepared him for the call that came in on June 9th, just past 9 p.m. It was a warm summer evening in Chicago. The call center was half lit and half empty. Derek was on his second coffee, halfway through a quiet shift, when a call lit up on his screen. He took it without hesitation. 911, what's your emergency? A young male voice, breathless, on the verge of panic. I'm watching a girl. On TikTok. She's live. She's being attacked. It's happening right now. Derek blinked. Can you repeat that? She's streaming. Some guy's chasing her. It's real, I swear it's not a prank. Please, she's screaming. The caller sounded young. Maybe 17. But not joking. Derek hit record on the secondary line and brought the supervisor feed online. The caller forwarded the stream link. Derek opened it on a secondary monitor. At first it was chaotic. Shaky footage. Dark surroundings. Trees. Streetlights blurred by motion. The girl was running. Gasping. Her breath jagged and high-pitched, each sob catching in her throat. Please, someone, he's following me. She turned the camera on herself only briefly, face streaked with tears, hair stuck to her forehead. The fear in her eyes was real, undeniable. Then she turned the phone again. The stream caught a brief glimpse of someone, a shape, closing in fast. He's catching up. A scream. Then static. Not a disconnection. Not a dropped signal. Just stillness. The stream kept going, but the frame no longer moved. It now showed a patch of pavement, dimly lit by a distant streetlight. Her phone had fallen. The image was motionless, but the stream was live. "Caller, do you know her? Can you give me any information?" Derek asked, switching between systems. The caller shook his head audibly. "No, she showed up on my For You feed." I clicked. "I don't know her." Derek was already triangulating. He used the IP address tied to the stream metadata and sent it to tech support. "I need a location now," he told them. "We've got a possible assault in progress." The girl's breathing had stopped. There were no footsteps anymore. No voices. Just the faint hum of night insects and the occasional rustling in the trees. And the phone lying still. Tech finally pulled an approximate location. South Side. Near an abandoned industrial park. Officers were dispatched. ETA, 8 minutes. But every second stretched unbearably. Derek stared at the frozen frame, willing it to move, willing her to pick the phone back up. To speak. To breathe. Nothing. The TikTok live continued. Tens of thousands were now watching. Comments flooded the chat window. "Is this real? Call the cops. Someone help her. Bro, this is sick." Then a new sound. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. The screen didn't move, but audio picked up something. Breathing. Not hers. Thicker. Rougher. Closer to the mic. Then a foot appeared. A boot. Dark worn. It stepped into frame and paused. Hovered. And then he kicked the phone. The stream went black. Derek swore and slammed his fist onto the desk. Officers arrived 20 minutes later. Too late. They found the girl's body a block away in a vacant lot. No ID. Her phone was shattered. She had bled out from multiple stab wounds. She had fought hard. There were signs of a struggle, blood in a wide arc, handprints on the concrete. But no suspect. No witnesses. The video had already ended. The stream was pulled by TikTok's moderation team just after midnight. But by then it had been copied, downloaded, re-uploaded on other sites, turned into content, into spectacle. Derek sat in his car until sunrise. He didn't speak, didn't eat, just stared through the windshield at the parking lot of the call center as the city came back to life around him. The next morning he cleared out his locker, left his badge on the desk. He didn't file a formal resignation. He just never came back. Some said it broke him, that he was haunted by the fact that he watched it happen. That he sat there helpless while a murder unfolded in real time. No filter, no delay. Just horror piped directly into his headset and burned into his brain. Others whispered rumors. That Derek became obsessed. That he started chasing digital ghosts. Scouring TikTok and YouTube for other live streams that went silent. That he believed the killer had done it before and would do it again. There were stories, unconfirmed, that another live went dark just 2 months later. Different city. Same boots. But Derek was never seen again. Some say he watches still. That he lives on the edge of the internet, lurking on the feeds, waiting for the black screen. Listening for the breathing. And hoping he's not too late this time. Being a 911 dispatcher isn't just a job. It's a window into the rawest parts of humanity. Fear, panic, death, evil. And sometimes that window lets in too much darkness. For every operator who makes it through years of service, there are others who couldn't keep going. Not because they were weak, but because they were human. If you know someone in emergency services, thank them. And if you ever hear a calm voice on the line during your worst moment, remember, they're carrying 1,000 other stories just like yours. Some of which they will never tell.